I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 57, and let's focus on verses 6 through 11. They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have dug a pit before me. Into the midst of it they have themselves fallen, Selah. My heart is steadfast, O God. My heart is steadfast. I will sing and give you praise. Awake, my glory, awake, lute and harp. I will awaken the dawn. I will praise you, O Lord, among the peoples. I will sing to you among the nations, for your mercy reaches into the heavens, and your truth unto the clouds. Be exalted, O God, above the heavens, and let your glory be above all of the earth. Today's psalm is subtitled in my Bible, A Miktam of David, when he fled from Saul into the cave. And let's familiarize ourselves with that story. 1 Samuel chapter 22, verses 1 through 5. David therefore departed from there and escaped to the cave of Adullam. So when his brothers and all of his father's house heard it, they went down there to him, and everyone who was in distress, everyone who was in debt, everyone who was discontented gathered to him. And so he became captain over them. And there were about 400 men with him. And then David went from there to Mizpah of Moab. And he said to the king of Moab, Please let my father and mother come here with you, till I know what God will do for me. And so he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the time that David was in the stronghold. Now the prophet Gad said to David, Do not stay in the stronghold, depart, and go to the land of Judah. So David departed, and he went into the forest of Hereth. Now apparently David was not the only Israelite Saul wanted dead, because when word got out that David was being chased by Saul and that he was hiding in a cave, many people showed up at David's doorstep, cap in hand. An often overlooked miracle here in this story is how 400 people with no resources easily found David hiding in a cave. Meanwhile, Saul, with all of the resources of Israel at his disposal, never found David. So when strangers started ringing the doorbell of Dave's cave, that's what they called it, I'm sure, back in the day. Hey, welcome to Dave's cave. How can we help you? David had a decision to make. Was he going to shoo them away, these discontented and indebted and distressed crowd? He had every right to. Undoubtedly, David was concerned that such a crowd might draw unwanted attention. For instance, one of the people might have desired Saul's ransom. Hey, there's a ransom on David's head for anybody who betrays him, right? We're indebted after all, honey, and business is business. Let's sell this guy and take the ransom. Or maybe they might want a chance to get back into the king's graces. They didn't really believe David was anointed to be the king. They wanted to get back into Saul's graces by passing along David's whereabouts. But David chose to have compassion on the crowd, didn't shoo them away. And of course, that's what a good shepherd would naturally be inclined to do, to care for lost sheep. And today's passage shifts from David's joy over his deliverance from Saul to how David's faith was strengthened by God's deliverance. David's kingdom may have been scabby at that point, but David was no longer alone. It is amazing how even the most humble community can be so comforting. Furthermore, David declared a new day, an awakened dawn. This is the dawn of a new day. I will awaken the dawn, he says, where he would sing the praises of the Lord to the nations. His next move was to send his father and mother to Moab. Moab were traditionally the bitter enemies of Israel. But David had an ace up his sleeve when it came to Moab. His great-grandmother, remember that young Moabite girl named Ruth who married Boaz? Well, in generations past, that righteous Israelite Boaz, well, Ruth ended up being David's great-grandmother. And just like that, a trustworthy testimony about the God of Israel and the whole earth once again the gospel came to the Gentiles. Here comes David's mom and dad, and David makes a statement. Hey, listen, until God figures this whole thing out, I'm going to need him to stay with you. There's his testimony about the God of Israel to the king of Moab. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. You know, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. And your giving to Groundworks Ministries transforms lives. Would you consider making a donation to Groundworks Ministries today? Because we really need your monthly support now more than ever. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. Another way to help is to tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Share these podcasts with friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.